Hey, what's up, everybody? Especially the people of the QC. This is Eric Debonair, Donnell, co-operator at Two Geeks and Nerds Productions, along with my brother and partner and co-pilot and all that other stuff.
Black Samurai 001, also co-owner, operator, and all that other stuff. Two Geeks and a Nerd Productions.
Hey, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and follow us depending on which social media you're on. Remember, we're on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook also a little bit, but not as much as we used to be. And Twitter, we have a Twitter, but we're not really on there like that. But if you want to tweet us, hey, tweet us, we'll tweet back.
Well, maybe starting a Blue Sky. I haven't gotten around to it yet. Also, remember, you YouTubers, hit that bell. Bell gives the alerts for every time we drop something. We're back. Sure you've seen the We're Back video that we have posted on our YouTube. And so we want to let you, that bell will let you know when we drop things. So since we're back, we're dropping things.
Yep. Drop it like it's hard.
So he says. But had some on my heart for a while. So this will be an interview with Debonair Donnell. And this will be about him talking about fatherhood, but we're going to talk about breaking the, some people call it curses, some people call it habits, handing, stuff down that's negative, whatever you refer to it as. I call it, sometimes I call it curses, sometimes I call it, having a little brain fart, y'all, now. But what do you call it?
I mean, we talk about curses, it's kind of superstitious or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or energy-wise, it follows a family, a bad omen, so to speak. I think it's more of a thing, so the generational curse thing is like the each one, teach one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, when you know better and you do better, you get better. But when you know what you know and you do what you know, you get the same results, and it's insanity. And so that's where the whole generational curse or whatever comes along. I think it's not that people are curses, it's people just like, well, this is how I was raised, and I turned out pretty good. And the thing is, everybody's pretty good, I guess, but you could always be better, you know what I'm saying, as a person. And I believe that starts with, your childhood experiences. So, for instance, like this morning when I was getting the girls ready, I always do the same thing. I get up, I go pee, and then I go to their room, and I go and Melanie likes for me to say, hey, good morning, wake her up before I turn the light on. Well, they get up super early with me, 5:30 in the morning, and now I just go in there and turn the light on. Because I'm like, all right, lights, hit the face, it's going to kind of like, wake you up a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah.
So when I did it, I always, because, Zuri, wasn't with us for a little while or whatever. And she wasn't with us for a little while, so it was a thing where
and just briefly explain why, just to make everything clear. Why she wasn't with you
for
a little while.
Because of the child care situation and stuff right now, and then my situation with my wife or whatever, going through some things, the girls had to be separated for a little while. And it was the worst part for me is only seeing my baby girl on the weekends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I'm not able to spend the time with her, teach her stuff, like I did with Melanie, intention-wise or whatever. And so that's why I say it's very important at an early age. Like all things in a child's life is very important at an early age because they don't forget. I remember stuff from when I was a little kid.
I think we all did.
But so like this morning though, or the last couple mornings, whatever, I go in and Zuri kind of like wants to hide and kind of play a little bit, so I play along with her.
Mm-hmm.
Melody's over there kind of like, oh, I don't want to get up. Like she comatose, kind of awake, kind of not, but messing with Zuri, and then Mel was like, well, why don't you do that with me, or whatever. And I didn't really have an answer that I can think of right now for. But other than, I always say, well, I did do that with you, when you were little. That doesn't mean I should stop now, though. So tomorrow morning, I'll, surprise her and play with her a little bit more and stuff like that, early in the morning. But yeah, just little stuff like that. Because on the ride home from work, I thought about that. And for a man, a father, or whatever, when you have daughters, you don't want your daughter looking for the love that you could have and should have given them. So things like certain types of attention and affection, I feel that if I give it to them properly, then they're not just going to be out here dealing with any sucker that say, hey, you cute, you beautiful, or any guy that's just playful with them or whatever.
And I could be honest, I've had women friends, maybe you have, whether you're watching a TV show, whatever, reality show, scripted show, but I've definitely had women friends who have said, because of lack of a father, they've rushed into relationships, gave themselves too soon.
Not even knowing, like in the subconscious, you're not thinking about these things because we're carnal creatures. So we do things based off of flesh, and people want attention. So you don't realize it until it keeps happening. You be like, well, what's wrong with me or whatever. And so when you realize, these are the patterns that I have, and you decide to do something about it, then it changes. So I don't want that to happen with my kids. Not with something that deals with me personally. Especially even if I had a son, same thing. I would want him seeing me treat my wife a proper way and interacting with her in a proper way, so that he's out here doing the same when he gets into relationships with somebody. We hear stories about people that see their parents drink or be abusive to the other parent. Either they do it or they don't. And if they do it even worse than the parent did. You know what I'm saying? Abusing alcohol, drugs. I know people that saw their moms get beat up by their dad, and they hate it, which I would too. Never seen my daddy put his hands on my mom. Never. They drank a bit much, both of them. And so even with that being said, so for me, I know how my parents were, and I'm like, I'm not gonna put my kids through that. So this is why I try to work out my marriage. This is why, people say, most guys this, most guys that. I'm not most guys. I look at things like, I don't want the cycle to repeat itself with my children. I want a two-parent home like their entire lives, and even after they get grown, I want me and my wife and I to stay together. And no marriage or union is perfect. No relationship is. Just like with the parent and child thing, it's not perfect, but I do or have learned from what I've seen with, my parents and other people, how they, have been affected by their parents. And so I'm like, the least I can do is not do those things.
And because the point of this particular podcast, and like I was saying, what I've had on my mind, because this is my business partner, and as we say, brother and friend. And even though we're not blood, some of you probably didn't know that, probably thought we were blood. But regardless, we're still family. His daughters know me as Uncle Troy, and they're my nieces, and we've all spent time and done stuff together, him and his wife and the girls. But what brought this on is because I've pretty much seen both girls come day one.
Yeah, he's been there since the birth of both of the kids. So.
And I've watched them, the marriage, the whole bit. Even with the marriage, I was there from day one.
He was a witness at my wedding when we got married February 16th of 2015, and it was a random thing. I always knew I was going to marry my wife since day one. I just didn't know when, I didn't know how. And we think about a union like guys think about, oh, I gotta propose, it's gotta be this way, and at the perfect place, perfect time. We literally were in this room, and I was right here about where I was at. We woke up that morning, I was like, let's go get married today. And she's like, huh? I was like, for real, it's like, we about to have this baby. I know I want to marry you. All she really wanted was a ring. She asked me for a ring. And she was like, you could at least get me a ring. This was before. And I'm like, yeah, if I get you a ring, we get married. Like, I don't, that whole promise ring and all that bull crap, I'm just like, yo, yeah, that's a waste of time. If you want to be with somebody, you want to be with them. So I could have got engaged and did things. I do think that we moved fast, super fast, met each other, and had a baby and got married in pretty much like less than a year. Like, we met like September, October. She was pregnant by December, January. We got married February. It was like December when she found out she was pregnant. And I married her in February. I mean, like, literally, it was unplanned. It was what I felt was the right thing to do. Not just for my child, but for at the time, my girlfriend or whatnot. She deserved it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, to be able to bring a baby into the world as a married woman, I think she deserved it, because there's nothing worse than I could stand and people saying something, because we all work together, you know, in a hotel. And I remember one person, her manager, was like, oh, something with your baby mama. I was like, that ain't my baby mama. That's my wife. Mm-hmm. Like, come correct. Don't call her my baby mama.
And I'm grinning because I remember the call, and I was like, you want to do what? Are you sure?
Yeah, Dre was the same way. He was like, man, you about to get married? Because I called him to be a witness, and he was at work. He was like, you sure, man? You sure, Bo? Like, but there was no doubt in my mind that was the right decision to make. Even through our marriage, our questions like, yo, why did I marry? Because like I said, that was perfect. Mm-hmm. And she felt the same way, like, yo, why did I marry her? Like, oh man, this and that. But then I think back to my kids, like, regardless of regardless of the ups and downs she and I have been through, the greatest two blessings we've gotten out of it are our two little girls. And I wouldn't change even my current situation right now. If it was to cause me to not have those children, I wouldn't change it. And it's tough. Yeah. Like, I had I don't want to say a mental breakdown. I was losing it yesterday. Not even gonna lie. Like, I was just at the point where I was just like, you know, thoughts that I shouldn't have in my head running through my head, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, I had caught an attitude with them. You know, so even down to that, like, you know, getting frustrated because I'm doing it, like, you know, pretty much in the moment on my own. You know, she helps out. Like, she got some stuff for them today. She called me and got some stuff for Melanie's stuff. So she does what she can do when she can do it or whatever to take the load off of me or whatnot. Mm-hmm. Before that, she was a stay-at-home mom, so I had no idea what she went through. All I knew was, again, we're talking about the cycle. Mm-hmm. I knew go to work, provide. They got food, they got shelter. They, you know, get a little something else every now and then. They should be good, you know, or whatever. And even then, I wasn't taking care of me. It's always the families first. After God, it's God, my wife, my children. Well, I got to put myself, you know, after God because I got to take care of them. But I wasn't putting myself, you know, first or taking care of myself. So, you know, I wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating properly. Just wasn't taking care of myself. I was, you know, drinking and smoking like every day at one point, you know, for whatever reason to just get away.
Since we're talking about, and that's the word I meant to use that I use more so than the curse thing, cycles. And what, well, actually, before I move on to the cycles, so you said you were drinking and you were also dealing with, again, as men.
I was doing everything but cheating on my wife. You know, literally. I've never cheated on my wife.
But as far as to mention the drinking and the smoking, was that a stress reliever? Were you feeling overwhelmed?
So, yeah, I think it's a stress reliever. You know, so for instance, cigarettes. Nicotine gives you a sense of relaxation. Though it's like one of the worst things you can consume. And then smoking, period, is not good for you. Cannabis, on the other hand, and I'm not, you know, telling people to go and do this, but for me, because I dealt with anxiety and stuff, it would have me calm. You know, it would give me a sense to just be like, you know, I can relax. And even she said, she was like, you know, when I stopped one time, she was like, maybe you need to smoke because you just getting, you know, like she could tell I was stressed. And I was like, you know what? Thank you for saying that. It gave me an excuse to do it. But still, I have to learn how. Like I'm training myself to tap into a more sense, a sense of calmness to calm myself. My goal is to get to the purest form of myself possible.
And what chose you to break that cycle? Because and again, we're talking about cycles because in our day, a lot of parents, came home, like you said, it does happen. You frustrated from work or whatever the case is, take stuff out on the kids that had nothing to do with your day being frustrated. So what in you decide to break that cycle that was unfortunately common in our day of being kids?
I mean, just seeing how I was when I wasn't consuming and how I was when I did. Like, I actually took a look at myself. And also, my wife telling me certain things. And me being like, and then me seeing it over and over. She called my patterns out, and then I see my patterns. And I'm like, dang, I do that. So like I said, like, even with, or little things, like before my grandfather passed, he told me, he was like, give me advice. He's like, never curse at your children. And I've done it a few times, but again, it's just because I allow myself to get overboard. Like, just I'm bottled up. All I do is go to work and take care of kids. We film the show. It's my fun time or whatever, but I don't. People, say you need something. I don't go hang out with the boys. One, I don't have the funds at the moment to do it. Because I have children, so the money I could be spending on drinks at the bar, I'd rather just go get a bottle if I'm gonna do that and drink it here at the house. And even like literally, if I bought a bottle a couple weeks ago, I might take a shot a day. That's nothing, whatever. Or wait till the weekend and have a little drink because I don't want to be in here and be under the influence and I'm not able to take care of my kids properly.
Yeah.
That's how I think as a parent. Like, I really do care about my children. I love them with all that I am. They're a blessing, you know what I'm saying? And for them to both be, smart, intelligent, funny, beautiful, kind, I don't want to, steer them in the wrong direction or give them the wrong depiction of how an adult is supposed to act. Like, literally, I'm a representation of what they're going to go look for someday,
And again, we going back to the whole point of this, cycles. So a lot of times, a lot of adults in our day were not examples in general. And we're not saying we expected the adults, the parents, the teachers, any kind of authority figure to be perfect. We're not saying that. We're just holding people accountable. That's it.
But people feel this, they fulfill the stereotype. Like we talk about, a man is supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be. So like, I'm supposed to be a hoe. You know what I'm saying? I could be, but I took vows, and I personally want to be able to say I upheld my vows. This ain't got nothing to do with me trying to look good to anybody else other than myself and God. And it's tough. I'm not even gonna lie, man. Especially over these last year and a half, 2 years. With us dealing with our situation. It is and it ain't. Like I tell people, you don't put yourself, you don't go chill in a crack house. You're not gonna smoke crack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you saw when we were at Amazon. Same thing is,
yeah.
Women come at you left and right or whatever, and this, that, and the other, and it's like, you ain't worth it. I'm married, and you still trying to get me to, fall off the horse. I'm good. Whatever. And people can feel how they want to feel. People can say what they want to say about me, men or women. It's my life. I choose to be this way. Because at the end of the day, I'm making me proud. I'm making my Heavenly Father proud or whatever. And so that's my goal, when it comes to fatherhood or being a husband. I want to be a better husband. So I've been working on, doing better things, communicating better, stuff like that.
And when did you have that revelation or whatever you want to call it, to say, I'm going to go beyond the typical male provider, just being dad and dad known as a provider? When did you realize that I am an actual example? I'm more than a provider.
Well, I've always wanted to be that way, even, since a kid. Like, my grandfather was a great man, but emotional side, as far as expressing emotion, none. Until my grandmother passed away. And then, that's when we knew he loved us. Mm-hmm. He was a loving man. Mm-hmm. But he was very serious all the time. I get that from him. I'm very serious, But, I got a joking side, too. Or when I can be foolish. But my serious side, or when I'm, like, zoned out doing what I'm doing, and people are like, man, are you mad? You okay? I'm fine. I'm just in the zone. I got stuff to do, and I'm doing it. There's a time for play, there's a time for work. But really, understanding, the importance and of what it is to be a man or a father or a husband or whatever. And then I see other people doing it too. People that are my age or older people, and certain things they do. I'm like, dang, I want to be, I want to have, financial stability and X, Y, and Z. I want them to be able to eat whatever they want every day, mm-hmm. For us to be able to afford it and stuff like that. So that's why I work. That's why, we built this company and stuff. It ain't about me. Yeah, it'd be great, but it's about my family. It's all for them, and the glory of God. Just to prove to myself, also, hey, you can do it. I want to do what's never been done in my bloodline before. Not to say that everybody in my family's gotten divorced, but out of my mom and all her siblings, they've all been married and divorced at least once, some of them twice, including my mom. So I'm like, dang, out of 5 kids, none of them had married one person and stayed with them the entire life. That's something wrong. And my grandparents were together. Mm-hmm. They